Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Through the Glass Table of 2017. I'm Izzy.
And I'm Everett.
And today we're going to be talking about...
Get out, nigga.
White people are at it again in Jordan Peele's directorial debut of Get Out. The film's mesh of horror, thriller, comedy tackles the age-old guess who's coming to dinner question. How will your family ever handle your black lover? Ooh. Pushed to the extreme, Chris, played by Daniel Kaluuya, must navigate the all-too-familiar racial tensions, false modesties, and awkward silences when meeting his girlfriend's parents in the suburbs for the first time.
So, Ismail, what did you think of Jordan Peele's Get Out?
Man, my initial impression, man, is I was blown away.
It was an impressive first movie. It's not the best movie in the world, and, you know, there are some problems, but it was, the way he tackled the subject matter, I thought was pretty clever, as we'll get into later. So, I was expecting more laughs from this. I don't know why. Just maybe because it's Jordan Peele. But
I think he got stuck in that, right?
But I was kind of happy that there weren't, because there are humorous things, but they're like dry wit humor. Like they're not like
over the top, kind of like there's someone sewing on top of my head, making a hat.
Yeah. Before we get into like the subject matter, because I think that's more important than anything that's going on in this movie, is what is he trying to say? We should probably talk about the actors. So, there's not a lot of familiar faces. I know the dad. I can't remember his name.
His name is, I have it here somewhere. Sorry, Bradley Whitford.
Yeah, I've seen him in a lot of like, what's that girl you hate?
Who?
She had that movie, the Trainwreck movie.
The Trainwreck. Oh, fucking
Amy Adams.
No, Amy Schumer.
There you go.
He's been acting for a while now. He's also was like the boss in Kate and Leopold, that Meg Ryan film, long time ago. I don't know the I guess, central character. I don't really know him too much. His name is Daniel Kaluuya.
Yeah, I know he's British. He's not from here.
All the black British people be coming over. John Boyega?
Yeah. Like I could tell sometimes when he was trying to speak
like
hood? It was coming out. That was kind of bothering me a little bit.
Yeah. What about what's her name? The Allison chick.
Oh yeah,
the girl.
She's from Girls, isn't she?
Oh, that's where she's from, right?
Yeah.
That's her. Yeah, she looked familiar.
Yeah, she was fine. Everybody was fine. They played their parts, and I think they knew what they were supposed to be doing, and that's all you had to do.
Oh, no, someone stood out, and it was the friend. I just don't know who the actor was. He stood out. Come on.
That's like the Tyler Perry-ish.
I don't know, because he's the one that's supposed to... Oh, whatever.
Well, no, he was funny. He was funny, but I was just... In a movie that's so fucking bizarre... To see him there, it was just kind of like, okay.
Oh, it's Jordan Peele. Every time he talked, it was like, it's Jordan Peele. Okay, so this being his first movie, what did you think about the style, how he chose to set up everything, even the pacing?
I thought it was very visually interesting. For a comedy writer, I wouldn't have...
that surprised me. Yeah.
I wouldn't have expected him to come up with some of the stuff that was in this. And it was very like, because you could do over-the-top horror, and then it wouldn't be as fascinating as what was in here, because it was like everything was subtle, and everything I kept thinking like, well, they could just be misunderstanding what's going on. Like when the guy,
yes. Like he played it very sneakily.
It teeters the line
between is this believable? Is it? But then he did it very well, where that one particular scene where he finds the photos and everything, that's when you knew everything was over the edge already.
Just balls to the wall.
Yeah. I have to give it to him because he followed the very kind of the peaks and valleys kind of situations. Like everything was always increased. Like every scene was always increased, which I thought was fantastic.
Yeah, and then in between that, because I'm glad you said peaks and valleys, because in between that there were times where I felt settled, and I was like, oh, okay. And
then he hit you again with something that was even more like, what the fuck?
I saw you jump a few times, like a bitch.
Okay, well, I jumped when there was... Okay, yeah.
I think that was the weakest part of the movie. I just felt like it was a distraction, because to me, the scariest parts were when you're dreading, like, what is going on? Like, what are these people? Who are they? Because it's just that sinking feeling. To me, and with the jump scares, it's like okay.
I didn't notice it until you said it right now, but the more frightening moments were the bizarre human connections like throughout it, like where she was talking about his mother and everything, and just kind of ripping it out, the pervasive nature of human
and everyone's like weird apathy. There's a scene where there's a party, and there's a party full of white people, and they're telling them they're asking him questions.
Questions like just like about race and just kind of
not
like,
that they're trying to be offensive, but or as far as until you learn what happens, but not that they're being offensive, but that's how they only know how to interact with people. And I was telling him, I know that, but I know someone who works at a corporation where there was a lot of white people, and that's kind of like
I think it's the minority in the room situation.
Yeah. Oh, that's a good way to put that. I didn't think. Yeah,
because I've experienced the same thing.
Yeah.
Like your people, like it's a situation where they don't like white people don't mean to do it. It's just they don't know how to navigate or talk about stuff like that, or they're curious, which is fine. You're human. You want to know about my background. You want to know about my culture. It's fine. Just ask me straight out.
Yeah.
Why like teeter around it? And that's where the awkwardness comes from. It's like, ooh, like
it's like everyone's tiptoeing.
Yeah.
Maybe I brought that up because the point I was trying to make is that I felt that dread and I'm sure you felt that dread when you have really experienced that. So it never occurred to me, oh, that's like a horror movie. Because the way I was feeling was how I feel when I'm in that situation.
You right after the movie, you said you made a very interesting comment about how this movie was a layer of comedy, like horror comedy, but it was actually talking about something else, the subject matter that has to do. What do you mean? What do you mean?
Okay,
I was still confused.
So I kind of got the impression that clearly the horror elements of this movie are just a cover for whatever he's trying to say. But then I think even beyond that, the race subject is a cover too, because I don't want to spoil the movie, but what ends up happening at the end and their reasoning for why they do what they do is sort of like everyone has the ability to be jealous of what someone else has.
Okay.
And then then sometimes that controls you and makes you hate that person.
Essentially talking about envy.
Yeah.
Envy.
Envy. And so I think what he was trying to say is sort of like beyond, underneath those racist feelings that people may have, even beyond white people, that's the root of it, is that you want to be what they have. For example, the example I gave you that made you laugh is that I knew some people who were they were Latino and they were super, super into hip hop. But at every fucking second, they needed to tell me how much they were into hip hop. And I can't help but think it's because I was black. And, black people are associated with hip hop. But then I think knowing those people, I think part of it is just the envy of that art form, that you wish you could be that art form. So I need to take it out on you, Everett.
I'm a little confused. I'm gonna tell you, I'm a little confused because we're talking about something deep, but it was probably worked into the horror element of the film.
Because I think what he's trying to say is that there's a deeper issue. Like, I'm not just racist because I'm racist. There's something underneath.
I'm racist because I envy you, or that it's human to envy you.
Or is there something that I don't have?
Okay.
That I want from you, but I can't have it.
This was pushed to the extreme, okay? Because the characters, essentially, what happens is like a mad scientist kind of deal. He's taking black people.
Wait, spoiler alert from this point on.
Spoiler alert!
Because we can't get into
we can't talk about.
Yeah, so go to this time code if you don't want to get spoiled.
Spoil the movie for you. But it's a mad scientist kind of deal. It's basically this family is kidnapping black people in order to transfer their brains from like degrading white people into black people's younger bodies and having to be able to do what they do. So I think what Everett's trying to say is that Jordan Peele or the people who created this movie are trying to like transcend the idea of just racial tension being the root cause of all that.
Yes, exactly.
That it's more
exactly. Yes.
So it's more of an envy issue within social constructs.
Yeah. And then you can even expand that past envy too. Like maybe I loved the black girl and I had a bad experience with that, and because of that little kernel, now that controls why I hate black people. Or I don't have family. I told you that I know people who hated when Latino families, my black family members, who hated when Latinos have like big giant extravagant parties, and you could tell everyone loves each other and they're having fun. But that's because those niggas don't have a fucking family. Because my whole family fucked up.
I think I agree with you on that. Jordan Peele is trying to show these social constraints that we are living in by pushing it to the extreme.
Yeah.
Because that's very extreme.
Yep.
This whole movie is extreme.
Obviously. Because, I mean, how else do you explain that without doing something silly? And then I also think I thought about that because of the kind of white people we have in this movie. This is not Billy Bob and Joe.
Yeah, this isn't like bumpkins. These are like liberal type.
Yeah,
like
these are people who did vote for Obama or who do constantly try to show you that they like black people.
Maybe we're just kind of like picking this, but there's a reason why we're picking it because it's in there. It's in the subtext of the film.
It's deep seated.
Yeah, it's very deep in there. But then again, someone can argue that this is just a horror film.
Exactly.
They could just argue this is a horror film and that we're being crazy.
But going in, you kind of know already because it was advertised in that way.
Yeah.
That it was going to be something about something deeper. So I was already kind of like probably too much. I was thinking like, okay, I need to focus and figure out what's going on here.
Yeah. But then again, you are a black male.
Yeah.
And so it's something that you have experienced yourself.
Yeah.
So,
Especially being a black male who I don't want to sound like an asshole, but a black male who's like pretty intelligent and pretty talented, that I get up to those levels, whereas like a gangster would never talk to like a CEO.
Oh, okay. You know what I mean? Yeah. You have.
So, but because of that, I have been put in those situations where I have to shuck and jive and say stuff that I wouldn't say to people who I love.
Or speak for everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
I hate that.
Exactly. So obviously, like this movie is tailored to the black experience, but did you recognize anything? I know we already agreed on some things, but did you recognize anything specific to your experiences?
As a Latino?
Yeah.
So the relationship, the character's relationship with the girl. Just kind of...
The girlfriend and him, right?
Yeah, like I dated girls that, like black girls, and like bringing them home, I've never actually brought them home, so I can't really because I have a crazy council of women to deal with. But like I could tell, like there was kind of a lapse in like their relationship in a sense. Maybe it had to do more with you have to distance those characters because
of what
eventually happens, but it didn't seem real to me.
That's sort of like, because I know a lot of people who get into those I hate saying that word, but interracial relationships just to piss off the parents,
right,
sort of thing, but you don't actually love each other.
Yeah.
I think it's more of those actors just didn't have chemistry.
That's the only one thing from like my personal experience of dating outside, I guess, I hate saying that, outside of my culture or race, is kind of like there's a bigger dynamic there. Like especially there's a bigger dynamic there. Like how do you you don't go willy-nilly into stuff like it's a big deal.
It's like a vetting process.
Yeah, you don't.
Because you probably have to figure out how you can tell your mom. Yeah.
She seemed very like blah about it. Right when they were having that scene, I kept thinking, because this could be a total misrepresentation, but this is like Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Like kind of that was a big deal back in the day, right?
Turned up to 10.
Right. Oh. And so it's that it dealt more with human conundrums and situations, and this one it just felt like it was okay. We done that. So
what do you think of like I was just there was a lot of white people in our audience.
True.
And I was just thinking like, what do they think of this?
I have a feeling, and I don't want to stereotype and kind of just generalize either, but I think they just thought this was a comedy. Yeah. Because there was more laughs at certain moments where you shouldn't be laughing. Yeah. Like when he was talking about his mom and everything falling to the floor, there was laughs.
I think they anticipated that it was only going to be.
Yeah. But maybe that's Jordan Peele's fault too. Like how he set up everything. There was tonal changes in the movie where something serious would be happening and then that fucking joke would come, which was funny, but it offset what was said.
Do you think it felt like it was almost like him apologizing for, okay, I'm doing a serious movie?
I don't think it was like him being apologetic. I think he was just nervous. Yeah. He was nervous because it's outside of the vein that he's used to. Yeah. Let's just go straight into, what's your rating?
As a movie, I would give Get Out an 8 out of 10. Ooh. It's not the greatest thriller in the world. If we're just talking about it as a
Bitch,
horror.
We do out of 5s.
Oh, what did I say? Whatever. 4 out of 5.
Okay.
Based on if you're just talking about it as a horror thriller movie, because it's cliched a little bit.
Yes.
You can kind of see where things might be going, and you know, but it's still good. Subject matter wise, I had to probably bump it up to a 4.5 out of 5.
4.5.
I think it has like 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is the shit they talking about in the movie, that white guilt, because nobody don't want to give it less than that. So,
You separated subject matter and whatever. I just think overall, with the kind of messages in there and the horror film element, I give it a 4 out of 5.
okay.
You know, I thoroughly enjoyed myself, and I thought it was a great first movie that he made.
Well, that's it, guys. Anything else you want to say?
I don't know.
We'll be back probably for one special one that we can't say yet because we'll probably get sued. And then we'll be back for Wolverine as well. So look out for more reviews.
Yes.
That's it. Bye, guys.
Thank you.